Hey everybody, welcome back to Breakfast with Bob from beautiful Edmonton, Canada. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're brought to you by Master Spas, SFuels, go longer, Quintana, HOKA One Form Smart Swim Goggles, Zoot Sports, the original triathlon brand, Premium Plus Sports, and of course our Challenged Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, two-time Olympic gold medalist, one of the true legends of the sport of triathlon, Mr. Alistair Brownlee joins us. How you doing, Alistair?
Great, thanks. Great to be here. Nice to see you.
Always such a treat to spend time with you. And what I love, the gold medals and all that stuff is great. But the Brownlee Brothers Foundation is something that when people give back, it means a lot to me. And seeing what you guys have done. How many kids now have gone through your program?
Yeah, well, thank you. It's something we're very proud about, actually. And after 2 years off due to COVID, unfortunately, the last few years, we've been back with a bang over the last 6 weeks or 2 months and had over 10,000 young people for our events.
Wait, 10,000?
Yeah, in the last few months, which has been fantastic. Oh, my God. I think we've done 10 or 11 events pretty much all over the UK, mostly still around, actually, Yorkshire, Leeds, Bradford, Hull. But actually, I went one to Corby, which is a steel town in the Midlands, and all over the place. So, yeah, it's really cool. And, it's looking like we're going to be able to grow it some more over the next few years as well. So it's brilliant.
Well, you're doing two things. One, you're helping kids out. But two, you're growing a sport. Because we have a lot of folks in our sport. It's sort of an aging sport. And you got into this when you were a kid. Johnny got into it as a kid. You know how great this sport is for kids. Is that part of the reason that you've created this? Is, hey, one, I want to do something that's good for the community. But two, we need to get new people into our corrals at these races.
Yeah, not specifically to get people into triathlon. I think it's more that I'm absolutely positive the benefits that sport have on young people's lives, whether that is like me, it grips you as an 8-year-old and then you're doing it a lot of years later for some reason, or you're actually, you do a triathlon and you decide you love cycling or you love running or you love triathlon and you want to do more of it, and that becomes part of a healthy lifestyle. You found your passion and that's what you want to do week in, week out to kind of keep you on tracks. And I think, we hear some fantastic stories. You hear of a young guy coming up and saying, I did the first event last year and I've come back now, I've joined the local club and I've done a few more, and that's absolutely brilliant. But actually, it's just great to see young people enjoy going to a pool. It sounds really obvious to us, but to a lot of the kind of communities we serve, using a swimming pool is quite a rare thing. Being able to cycle is quite a rare thing, and we work hard to get in those communities where we can. And I think just exposing young people to the opportunity and then trying to provide follow-up opportunities is, I think that's where we can really make a difference.
And I think a lot of people have this misperception that this sport, you have to be rich, you have to be some sort of uber athlete, because they think triathlon, they think Ironman, and you got to go be out there all day. And for people to understand that you can do a triathlon, you don't really need any equipment to swim, pair of goggles. And to ride a bike, especially if you're a kid, just a $50, $60 bicycle is fine. And running, you need a pair of shoes. So it's really entry level. Getting people in really is not. It shouldn't be that shouldn't that be a big cost issue?
Yeah, for sure. I think if we go back a stage from that, actually what we're talking about, maybe they're not even doing triathlon, they're just trying to live healthily. And I think using the vessels of swimming, cycling and running to live healthily, I think, like you said, it can be really, really affordable and efficient. You might go swimming a couple of times a week, you might ride your bike to work, part of your daily routine, you might go running with your mates on an evening at the gym. And so I think there's that, giving young people the tools of this is what exercise is. You can do these forms of exercise. It can be fun. It can be social. It can be part of a lifestyle. I think there's that. And then I think moving on, there's the competitive, or not even competitive, doing triathlons to complete them and then compete in them, if you like. And I think we've seen massive changes of that. I know especially in the UK over the last decade, from people going, I don't know what the hell a triathlon is, or probably back before that. But I don't really know what a triathlon is, to I kind of know what one is, but it's only what, mad people doing Ironmans at the weekend.
Exactly.
You have to be a real anorak to actually now, it's instead of entering a 5K to raise money for the charity of your choice, you might enter a sprint distance triathlon. And I think that change in mindset and focus has been enormous and brilliant for the sport, that actually anyone can can compete in a triathlon. It's a great goal to have. It's a great goal to help you achieve your fitness goals, and also, you can raise a bit of money for charity along the way, maybe.
Well, and if you look back at Chrissy Wellington coming in and what she did from 2007, 2011, winning the Ironman and winning long distance races, and then you and Johnny getting gold and bronze in 2012 in London, right? And probably one of the most watched Olympics in history. That certainly had to bring a lot of people into the sport.
Yeah, I hope so. I think, it's been a bit of a wave, and we've been part of that wave. Definitely didn't cause the wave, but kind of been part of it, and it's been a real honour to see that change in the kind of people's psyche and understanding of our sport of triathlon. And I think it's great to be here in Edmonton. I think that's one of the great things about the PTO. I feel like that's another step in that direction.
You're a racer. I know that's what you love to do. You want to go to a start line. Being in St. George and being sick and not being able to go to the start line had to just gut you. How hard was that for you?
Yeah, I think being in St. George was almost certainly some of the worst days of my life. I can see it with a smile on my face now, but
no, it's
it was
the
really,
worst.
It was really, really tough. I trained really hard for that after a really disrupted few years beforehand. Really, I mean, some of that wasn't COVID. The year before, having an operation on my ankle. And I started training in the back end of last year with, I just want to do two things. I want to do St. George and I want to do Kona. And everything was almost perfect, really, apart from, a few days.
Get sick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then a few weeks after that, having an injury. So, really, really mentally tough. So some of the hardest kind of thing I've been through, I think.
Well, because I'm sure you thought, I'm going to go to St. George and win Ironman World Championship. Then I'm going to go sub 7, right? A month later, and that then whatever happens the rest of the season, I'm not that worried about it. It'd be great to go back to Kona. For you, what does the rest of this season look like?
Yeah, I'm actually not sure now. I think I've become allergic to making plans after so many of them.
You know what? It's probably a good thing. If I'm healthy, I'm going to go race.
Yeah. So I mean, I had a bit of time off around kind of sub 7. I was just trying to stay fit and just enjoying exercise, like we've just been talking about, but not training. And I made the decision here. I thought, you know what? I'm feeling quite fit. My running isn't in the place I'd like it to be at the moment after having 2 or 3 weeks off because of the injury, but or maybe a bit longer than that. But I've run great over the last few weeks. I want to go and race, and that's partly because I want to race and be on start lines. And partly because I think it's really important. I think this is a fantastic event. I think the PTO is a really great thing for our sport and long course triathlon. And I think supporting that is important as well.
So after you win your second gold medal in Rio, I mean, you really had nothing left to accomplish. You'd done everything that you could do in the sport. You had dominated WTS racing for years. You win your second gold medal. Was there a thought in your head, okay, time to drop the mic? I just got my second gold, I'm out.
Yeah, I think if you'd asked me in 2011 or 12, if you win 2 Olympic gold medals, are you going to retire? I would have gone, every day of the week. Like, I'm going to retire. I'll do something else. I'm not the kind of person I'll just, have a protracted sporting career and I'll go and find something else to do. But more than anything, going early before 2012, I always thought I was going to go back to university and study and do academics. To be honest. So, but sport has been my life. Triathlon has been my life since I was an 8-year-old, and I've got the opportunities to race and hopefully still achieve and perform very well. And that's a great honour. So I hopefully got still a bit more racing in me left. Yeah.
So you go to Flagstaff after Oceanside, and you had a good build-up. Now, looking back on that was a phenomenal build-up. You're up at altitude. You did everything you wanted to do. Is that something you would go back to and do that again for another build?
I really enjoyed being in Flagstaff and everything after Oceanside. I was a bit ill in Oceanside. It took me a bit of time to get over an illness. And again, people who know me, I've probably not missed 5 days in a career of training, never mind racing for illness. I'm just never ill. And then this year, I've been ill a few times. So anyway, a bit strange.
COVID or just other stuff?
I think possibly post-COVID kind of stuff, but who knows? I'm not a conspiracy theorist. But Flagstaff was great. I had a great 4 weeks there. Really enjoyed the training. Really great location.
So when I was looking back on your career, so you had an Achilles tear in February 2012. Right. That's the Olympic year.
Is this what all these notes are, my injuries?
Yes. No, actually, this one says that you're ranked 333rd in the world.
The entire document. Yeah. There's a library around the corner as well.
Exactly. So, but you're in the Olympic year. It's February. Olympics are coming up on your home country. Were there thoughts in the back of your head? Am I going to get to the start line? I mean, this has been my goal since 2008. Well, since you're 8, but. Knowing that you really couldn't race much before the Olympics, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it was. I know exactly when the Olympics in London became my goal, actually. I think it was July the 5th, 2005.
Really?
Yeah, London won the bid to hold the Olympic Games. And I was in school and...
How old were you?
17. No, 18.
Okay.
Yeah, no, 17, yeah. I'm in school, must have been towards the end of the school term, I think, and a teacher said to me, have you seen London have won the bid to win the Olympic Games? And I said, no, I've been in maths or something, I haven't been there. And he said, wouldn't it be great if you could be there? And I thought, there's no chance of me being there. Yeah, it'd be really cool, but no chance, I'm just not good enough. But I think pretty much every day since then I've thought about the Olympic Games. It'd been 7 years of knowing about the home Olympic Games in London. And then, I had an Achilles tear in the early part of that year, and that was really tough. I'd kind of messed around a few weeks trying to get it diagnosed, which was a tough thing with Achilles. And
yes.
Yeah, that was the start of some kind of Achilles issues, I think. Probably some of the way we treated that probably didn't help later on, being really aggressive with it possibly, but you
don't know until you
certainly don't know.
Could have gone the other way.
And thankfully, thankfully it worked. It got me to the start line, I think, which was the important thing.
Were you obviously you're concerned because you normally would have a buildup of races and a backlog of, my results are here, I know where I'm at. You sort of didn't really know.
Yeah, no, I didn't know. I think the big advantage I have in all that was Johnny. I knew after my build-up of, I can't remember exactly what I was doing, but I was probably swimming and biking quite well, and then, was grading in the running, and probably within about a month of me building in my running, I'm like, I'm running as well, if not better than Johnny here, and Johnny was winning World Series races, and then I had a few weeks into the first, so it was just a great goalpost for me to measure myself off.
I love that. And then transitioning from that Olympic format to longer distance. Obviously, as a guy who's grown up in triathlon, Ironman is in Kona, especially, is something that's a bucket list item. You got to go there.
Yeah, absolutely. I've known about Kona, I think, since I was probably that 8 or 9 year old at the time. My uncle was doing Ironman, and I'd watched him at a few triathlons, and he was talking about Ironman distance racing, and then talking about the race at Kona. So it's always been, I guess, something that I've known about, and something that, like you said, has been a bucket list.
And so when you go to Kona for the first time and did not have the race you wanted to have, what did you come away with from that?
Frustration. I kind of knew physically I was really close to what I needed to be to execute a really good race, and thought I'd done a really good job at preparing and doing what I needed to do. But ultimately, I didn't execute a good race at all. And I woke up the next morning, I was like, I want to do another one of these as soon as possible and get it right. So that's when I raced quite soon afterwards, I think 5 or 6 weeks in Australia, and tried to execute well the things that had gone well.
You broke course record and had...
that went much better. I just wish I'd known what I knew in Australia and in Kona.
What was the difference?
I think a combination of things, a few things around nutrition, really strict pacing.
Yes.
Things in Kona didn't help. I think the puncture was quite a big thing for me, and forced me to kind of chase then.
Burn matches then.
Yeah, it's all very well and good saying it, but hopefully I'll go and execute well in Kona in the future.
So 2018, probably one of the greatest races in history. And of course, it's hard to say greatest races when you don't win it, but still, the fact Jan runs 106, you run 107, Javi runs 108. Did you get a feel during that race? This is something pretty cool.
Yeah, I knew going into that race, the field was pretty outstanding, and the other guys there in Javi and Jan were going to be really hard to beat. I knew that the bike course is quite fast and probably was going to be tough to split it up, although I was going to try my hardest. And I knew it's going to come down to a run, and I knew I was in pretty good shape and it would be a relatively flat and fast run. But yeah, I didn't think it would necessarily be that fast with Jan running a 106 there.
Yeah, and then Jan comes away from that injured. Javi didn't have a good Ironman. I mean, really, that race beat up everybody.
I think it did. I think it was just tough and intense. You know, parts of the bike had been really tough as well. The run was tough going out. You know, I think the first half was pretty fast. People going out hard, and it's 2018. I think it's probably pre-carbon trainers as well. So
exactly,
a bit harder for everyone, and all those times should be a minute faster.
So do you feel the shoes make that big a difference?
Yeah, they make a different amount of difference to different people for sure. But
right.
Yeah, they're considerably faster.
And so knowing that you weren't really sure you're going to do this race until recently, what are your goals here?
Just to finish, to be at the sharp end of the race, to race as hard as I can, execute a good race. In terms of where that leaves me as a result, I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm physically fit. I'm going to swim and bike well, and the run is going to be tough.
So coming off of Beijing, and I think leading into 2008, I don't think very many people thought you'd be beyond the team going into Beijing. But what did you come away with that led to your dominance for over that next 4 years?
I think the biggest thing I learned from Beijing or took away from it was the confidence that I was really close.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of went away for that race, and I was like, well, I was actually leading or racing the best guys in the world until 3K to go, and whatever, that's like an hour 30 of an hour 40 race. It's most of it, and so yeah, I'm not that far off, but not even I expected to kind of make the big jump I did to performing the year after that, where I was kind of suddenly leapfrogged, I guess, some of those guys. But it was confidence, it was a determination to go away, work hard, and get that little bit better, which would mean I was genuinely world class and able to race the best.
A lot of times people say, you win your gold, and then if you defend, that's sort of a relief because people are expecting you to win. But in your case, in 2012, everybody was expecting you to win there, even though it was going to be your second Olympics, but really first time as a favorite. How much difference was the pressure 2012 and 2016 on race day? The
pressure in 2012 was enormous. By far the biggest pressure race of my career, quite possibly any triathlete ever, I imagine. From the whole build-up, all of a sudden it was mainstream news 6 months out. I couldn't go into the shop without someone asking me when I was going to win the Olympics, and make sure I beat that pesky Spanish guy, and hopefully Johnny would come second. And so it was that much. And running around Hyde Park in the days before the race, there was billboards like 50 meters high of Johnny and me in the park. Just crazy experience, a different level of pressure. And Johnny and me were sat watching the British news. I don't know why we were watching the news. We shouldn't have, really. No psychologist tell you to do this. The morning before the race in the hotel room on the edge of Hyde Park. And basically the news story was the presenter was walking around to different groups in Hyde Park being, where have you come from to watch the Brownlees today? And they'd be like, oh yeah, we've members of their running club, we've come from Bradford, we're so and so, we've come from here, and Johnny looks to me, and it was just basically, we better not F this up. And so I was stood on that start line, with a hell of a lot of pressure, but I was truly lucky in lots of ways. Obviously it had taken a lot of hard work, but really lucky to stand on that start line knowing that I was in the best possible physical shape I could be on that day. I couldn't have done any more. I couldn't be any fitter. And if I went out and executed that performance, I would ultimately win. And if it had been the other side of that, if I hadn't been as fit, if I had an injury niggle, if something else had gone wrong, I think it would have been much harder to cope with.
I remember talking with the American marathoner named Ryan Hall, who ran 2:04:58 at Boston, and he was telling me when he was a kid, before a meet, his dad would always try to loosen things up. Said, "There's 2 billion people in China who could care less about what you do today." And he says, "I'm standing at the start line in Beijing at the marathon and thinking, Dad, you're wrong today, because there's 2 billion people in China who know exactly what I'm doing, and really, I can't hide here." When you look back at your career, and it has been a legendary career, everything you've done, from the charity to 2 gold medals to you and your brother together, what are your takeaways, and what's left to accomplish for you?
It's hard to know exactly what my kind of takeaways are. I think, firstly, believe that you can, have some dreams and go out and get them, even if they do sound impossible. Like I genuinely said, as the 17-year-old knowing about the Olympics, I thought it was just irrelevant that the Olympics were in London. Never mind that I'd be there and be a favourite. Work hard. I think that goes for almost everything, but especially for endurance sport, because working hard over a long period of time consistently is definitely what gives you the results. And try and just stop to appreciate some things along the way and enjoy it. I remember one of the things after London, I basically grabbed the flag and sprinted to the finish line pretty much, and thankfully I had the presence of mind and the time in Rio to think, you didn't really enjoy running down the finish line last time, and there's a good chance you'll never get this again. So just take a few seconds to enjoy running down the finishing straight of the Olympic Games. So I think it's good to sometimes take a breath and be a bit reflective and appreciate what's going on around you.
Well, I can't wait to watch you race on Sunday, man. It's going to be a blast.
Thank you.
I love it. Mr. Alistair Brownlee, one of the true legends of our sport. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.